What's up, y'all? My name is Damian Smith. I'm a rapper and producer from El Paso, Texas, and I just dropped an album called CycleBreaker. It's about breaking negative generational uh, curses, and some of the ones I've broken in my family are infidelity, incarceration, domestic violence, and drug use. So, in celebration of that theme, I'm here with an artist friend of mine, and he's going to share a little bit about what it means to be a cycle breaker. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, man?
Hey y'all, my name is Mihir Suri and I'm a rapper from Mississauga, Canada. And I'm also a cycle breaker. I make music about being a kid with autism and just how to make people feel like, they're worth it. And I'm here with Damien. Damien is a good friend of mine that I met off Instagram. He's the one who asked me to be on here, and I'm happily willing to be on here because I want to tell y'all my story and I want to just give you guys some insight that maybe you haven't thought of before. That when you get, you're actually going to understand that you're worth it. All right, let's get this done.
For
Let's
sure,
get
man.
started.
For sure, man. Great introduction. So
Yeah.
let's start out. So, what does breaking generational cycles mean to you?
Well, for me, uh, breaking generational cycles for me starts with you knowing that you have the power to change your own destiny, what you feel like was made for you in terms of good or bad can also alter the way you think about that situation. So I'd say what that means in a short sentence is it means you have the power to change your own destiny and you're not foiled from the past because that's just something that adds on to your character. All right.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. Beautifully said. Yeah. There's that saying, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Or we could use our trauma to add on to our character and to make us better people. So awesome.
Of course.
Beautifully said. Um,
Yeah.
was there ever a moment when you were going through something or you thought about the negative things you've gone through as a result of generational cycles and you said, this ends with me?
Yeah. So one of my biggest problems was I grew up as a survivor, and it really taught me that people around like my family and people around my friend circle, they're always so worried about if that happens, like how would I react to it. I said to myself, I would be the cycle breaker. My dad was like, you gotta tell your story and you gotta be okay with the fact that you're not defined by your past. So what really helped me realize that was looking at my younger self and being like, my younger self would be so proud of me right now. So think about breaking generational curses or doing that as making sure that if somebody, your younger self, is looking at you, he or she or they them would be proud of you.
All right, well, thank you for being vulnerable in that aspect. I'm also an SA survivor, so I know a little bit of the feelings that, that might arise from that. And I think you talked about some important points. Like it's really a mindset and a decision that you make for yourself. Like, hey, this stops with me. Like if I and I loved how you visualized your younger self. If you were speaking to your younger self, what would you say to that person? I do think at times it's unfortunate because people are just so involved in that cycle that it's normalized to them. But
Oh, for sure.
but
And I think,
I'm
yeah,
glad that you're you and I, at least, and a lot of other people out there, we went through something and we realized like, hey, this isn't. I don't have to internalize this. This doesn't have to be who I am, and I can make some positive changes.
if somebody were to open up to me, I wouldn't be judgmental as to judge somebody else. for not saying it early enough or not saying it late enough. Because as long as you're breathing, you have time to, you know, break that cycle.
What's something your parents or grandparents did well that you appreciate more as you've gotten older?
I think
So
what my parents, yeah, I think what my parents have done super well with me is like they taught me that I can pursue whatever I want to as long as I know it's right for me. So, for example, I'm a Christian, but I I decided I wanted to be a part of my mom's church. She gave all of us in our family the free will to not only just be whoever we wanted to be, but know that they fully support us no matter what type of endeavor we do, right? And that's where um, dinner conversations, which is another big thing. Dinner conversations, no phones, no nothing, just sitting there at the dinner table with the family, just enjoying that face-to-face presence. Because you never know, as somebody who's been through a lot of pain and stuff, sometimes you just need someone to like listen to you. And that's a big thing that my parents grew up on, where it's like you sit at the dinner table, enjoy your food, but also talk to the family because you never know. Somebody else could be going through something that you're going through in your family, and you don't even talk to that person. And you got to know that there's times that it'll get rough, but just having my parents be an open book and my grandparents being an open book to talk to me about stuff that I've been going through my whole life made me feel like I was understood and I have a voice, because sometimes there's families that, I don't know their dynamics, but sometimes they don't let the kids talk about what they're going through because they're already going through enough themselves and they don't want to deal with that heavy burden and stuff. So my parents being that lighting load of joy for me. It is a big thing. Them embracing me with all of my flaws. I have so many flaws to start with. Like, I forget things whenever it comes to importance. So, like, sometimes I forget to turn off the stove or just do my laundry on time, right? My parents, my sisters, my family, all of them, they're all so kind. They all love me the way I am. And they're like, okay, but you got to remember, do your laundry, do this, do that. Just those
yeah,
like simple reminders. Those are like, it's integral. It's integral because like it changes the way you view the family dynamic. It changes the way you view like family in and of itself.
beautifully said. I wanted to bring up something that you thought parents and grandparents did well because yes, cycle breaker is about breaking those cycles. But I feel like as individuals, we also have to worry about, or not worry about, but consider what our parents did well and what our grandparents did well and carry those traditions on. So I think that's an important piece. I really admire that your parents and your family in general is just so open-minded and accepting of you and your flaws, and everybody has flaws, and I think it's important to have that support system that embraces them and embraces our flaws and loves us no matter what at the end of the day, and allows that gives that right there gives us the confidence, I think, to pursue our dreams. So
Exactly.
shout out to your parents and your grandparents. You seem to have um a very lovely
Oh yeah.
family.
My
So,
family is uh something that very few people will ever get to see in terms of the amount of kindness they gave.
okay, so in terms of the cycle baker theme, growth and change,
Uh-huh.
what
Yeah.
kind of person are you trying to become?
I'm trying to become a person that my younger self can look back at and think I'm a hero. Whether that's just simply being a shooting coach for somebody who wants to learn how to play basketball. I've got to the point where I tried out for the NBA G League, didn't make it, but found ways that I can help other people get to that spot that I wasn't able to get to. I tore my ACL at 17, and like I gave up on my basketball dreams to become a rapper. And
Mm.
because I came to rap, what I've noticed is um not only does my voice have impact, my actions also have impact. So let me be that one separator that instead of charging the money for it, like I said in the earlier stages of I won't like charge even if I have 1 million followers.
Mhm.
It's the same thing I do anytime I give advice to anybody. I'm not trying to be the person who asks for $1,000 for uh, a training session that might literally change their lives. I'll be like, hey, what do you need help with? What can I do for you? I just want to be a change maker. I just want to be somebody that someone can look up to and be like, I want to be this person, but I also want to be myself. That's how you're going to get to that success. That's how you're going to get to the place that you need to be, is to understand to embrace yourself with every single minute detail. Saying, long story short,
Uh,
I want to be a voice for people who didn't feel like they could be themselves to be themselves in that spot with me. So
Really?
whether it's at a sold out show, whether it's at basketball park that somebody needs help in, I just want to be that person.
For sure, and I think that's an admirable pursuit, and I think you're already doing it, and you're gonna continue to to expand upon it.
I'm proud of everybody that's breathing today because you never know whoever needs to hear that message that they're worth it and they should be happy with the fact that they're breathing, even though there's sometimes where people wish they weren't. That I want to be that. Sorry, I just want to be
You're good.
somebody's reason to take that single step because you never know nowadays. There's people that you may know for 20 years and they've been going through something really hard and you blame that on yourself when really if they didn't want to tell it to you it's because they have to deal with it themselves and you could always be that voice but then again there's always going to be some times when you can't and you got to be okay with that and you got to know that you are still worth it even if you're trying to help a person that's not trying to be helped.